Part 55. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 541. Gabriel's experience plunged Black Mist into silence. Although the angel tribe surrendered quickly. However, this does not mean that the angel clan is weak. Among all races, the eternal 9 races are the strongest among the strong. The angel clan is ranked among the 3 middle clans. In terms of strength and potential, they are the top group among all clans. The most important thing is that this being in the Black Mist was once the most powerful seed of the previous generation of the angel clan. This genius who looked down upon all races back then was only a 10-winged black angel at level 989. In other words, at the same level, Black Mist is no match for peak Gabriel. Gabriel, who was so powerful, lost to the 499 strongest human race. What a joke. Black Mist's voice was obviously angry. As the most powerful seed of your clan, you just lose to the opponent. You don't even have the heart to be strong. Heiwu could tell that Gabriel's heart had already died in front of him. My clan. Gabriel's face remained calm and he said calmly. You betrayed the angel clan and joined the demon clan. What qualifications do you have to speak against your own clan? The other angels may not know the origin of the Black Mist. But, as the most powerful seed of the angel race, Gabriel is qualified to know more ancient secrets. The most powerful seed of the angel race before him paid a huge price in order to achieve the top position. After the failure, the archangel rebelled directly into the demon clan and replaced the demon clan's most powerful seed. It is this black fog in front of me. If it were any other angel who dared to talk to Heiwu like this, he would have been killed long ago. However, Gabriel's heart has died, and now he is alive like a zombie. Perhaps, for Gabriel, living is the more torturous thing. It is precisely because of this that Black Mist did not kill Gabriel, but asked with great interest. According to you, you should have seen all 3 generations of the strongest human beings. Gabriel nodded. Tell me about the first 2. Black Mist is obviously very interested in the so-called strongest human race. In their time, the human race could not practice cultivation, let alone the strongest human race. Unexpectedly, after the arrival of the Eternal Tower, in just 100 years, the human race would have 3 powerful beings. Black Mist was very measured and did not dare to mention the 3rd most powerful person at all. The first 2 have fought against the most powerful demon god, so there is nothing to worry about. Nightmare. Gabriel shook his head. He has nothing good to say. You can never see through this man. Black Mist was a little confused. Mystery is the most conspicuous label on nightmares. Although I am trapped on this level, I have heard a little bit about what happened in the past 100 years. Gabriel said calmly. 100 years of time, a blink of an eye, the human race is in today's situation, and the nightmare is indispensable. Black Mist has little interest in the human race. Go on, where's the second one? That sword. Gabriel was silent for a moment and then spoke again. That sword is the strongest among the 3 generations of the strongest. Obviously, this is Gabriel's personal opinion. Black Mist didn't approve. From Heiwu's point of view, no matter how terrifying Nightmare and Wuhan are, they cannot be stronger than Xiaoao. Thousands of miles away, spanning 2 worlds, Xiaoao casually killed the 999-level expert from the Desolate clan with a bolt of lightning. That thunder catastrophe left a deep psychological shadow on Heiwu. Kurogiri asked, how strong is it? Gabriel said seriously. Strong enough to defeat me before I surrender. Black Mist. That's really strong. In terms of humiliating the Angel clan, not only foreigners can humiliate them, but the Angel clan itself is also good at humiliating them. Okay, the sacrifice is about to end. Heiwu snorted coldly. Originally, I planned to take you out of this floor, but seeing how useless you are, it's no longer useful. Facing Black Mist's insults, Gabriel felt nothing. Just scold me. For the past 72 years, he has been living in confusion. The once shining star of tomorrow fell from the sky and was unable to recover, completely obliterating everyone. The attitude of the tribe towards him gradually changed: encouragement rightward arrow, sympathy rightward arrow, anger rightward arrow, shame rightward arrow, insult rightward arrow, powerlessness rightward arrow, numbness. In the end, everyone was numb. Anyway, you will suffer while you are alive. Wu sneered and said, Go to the valley and stop the fourth generation of the most powerful seeds of the human race. Don't blame me for not reminding you. Shura participated in the siege and slaying of the demon ancestor, and he was not a parallel import. Gabriel walked forward and said calmly as he walked, Is the demon ancestor strong? He looked back at Black Mist, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly, and his tone fluctuated for the first time. For a moment, Wu seemed to see a 12-winged black angel standing in front of him. Gabriel said disdainfully, At the same level, I would kill him like a dog. After saying that, Gabriel turned and left. The entrance to the valley. Or, be killed by me. Such a dazzling genius, such an unruly strong man, completely fell into despair after meeting that sword. From the mouths of the demon god, Gabriel, and other beings, Black Mist kept hearing how terrifying the once most powerful human race was. Black Mist seems to have a different understanding of the human race's strongest person. The vampire looked at the angel repeatedly, nodded, and spoke incomprehensible words. At this moment, he seemed to be back to the powerful seat of the angel clan back then. It looks like something is missing. He is indeed not weak in strength, and he is a bit clever, but it always feels, not that exaggerated. The Heavenly King's sword is indeed with me. For example, it has a lot of hair and is a fat sheep. This generation of powerful seeds from the angel race is pretty good, much better than the werewolf race. The demon lord will definitely like it, and so on. Shura nodded and did not deny it. Could it be said that the strongest human beings in the first 3 generations were as strong as Xiaoyao? I can feel that sword on your body. Gabriel looked at the mage who had come from afar and said seriously, But kill me with that sword. 8 wings of light unfolded, and Gabriel's whole body erupted with terrifying aura, burning with endless fighting spirit. After the vampire left, another moment passed. The most powerful person has no trace, and at level 499, he destroyed the most powerful seed of the 989 level angel race. An angel stood quietly, like a statue. One fact after another was placed in front of him, and Wu had to waver. If this is really the case, it would be too terrifying. Brush. Black Mist began to doubt his own judgment. Not long after, the shadow of a 3-headed dog from hell came over, circled around the angel, made a mark, and turned away. After a while, a dirty and weak vampire flew over. The sculpture like 8-winged angel moves? A black-robed mage appeared within the angel's field of vision. Suddenly, Black Mist has seen Shura, the most powerful seed of this generation of the human race. The most powerful person's nightmare, one sentence, makes the 5th demon god wish for death to this day. Could it be that Shura is just a special case? The 8-winged light angel was bathed in the sacred light and said coldly and calmly, Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 542. 2 Great Pleasures in Life. When you meet an opponent in chess, you will meet a good talent. Looking at the angel who challenged him, Yebai announced his name. Human race, Mage, Shura, level 499. The 8-winged light angel spoke. Angel clan, Gabriel, level 989. Warm reminder from SSS level talents, Gabriel will enter his strongest fighting state only after all 8 wings of light fall. Is there a possibility that he has secretly restored the 12-winged black angel, or even gone one step further? After hearing the other party's name, Yabai couldn't help but ask. Where's your black-hearted shop? What? Gabriel was stunned and shook his head. Did you admit your mistake? Yabai nodded and did not continue this topic. While the other party was observing him, Yabai was also sizing him up. If Yabai saw it correctly, this man was beheaded by his second brother. The kind that doesn't kill anyone. As well as. Yabai narrowed his eyes slightly and looked more carefully. The scar on Gabriel's back was caused by a sword. This powerful angel once had 12 wings of light, but he was chopped off by his second brother with one sword. The second brother's sword-holding hand was very steady, with surgical-grade micromanipulation. Gabriel was killed by the light wings and was seriously injured, but he did not die. To be honest, this is harder than killing Gabriel directly. What's even more impressive is that after suffering such a heavy blow, it took Gabriel less than 100 years to return to level 989 and restore his 8 wings. Even the worst light wing cannot be underestimated. Yabai's expression was a little solemn. This opponent exceeded his expectations. I didn't expect that there is such a person in the Angel clan. Hearing Shura's words, Gabriel also smiled. There are always weird people in any clan. He, Gabriel, is the wonder of the angel race. Hearing this, Dracula, who was not far away, nodded crazily. Shura is the human race. Wrong. Dracula slowly shook his head again. Everyone has almost reached a consensus on whether Shura is a human being. 99.99% not. The prompts in front of him slowly disappeared, and Yabai had a general understanding of Gabriel's strength. To sum up, the advantage is mine. I have to say that in this case, the eyes are still very useful. As long as it is not involved with beings of the strongest or demonic level, Tanyan is a well-deserved SSS level talent. Gabriel concentrated his attention, waiting for Shura to draw his sword. Level 989 versus level 499, using the big to bully the small is already shameless enough. But, considering that the other party is the strongest seed of the human race, that's reasonable. Gabriel wanted to see Shura's sword first. Seeing what the other party was thinking, Yabai invited the Heavenly King sword out of the exclusive space. Note, this sword absorbs a large amount of sword energy, and the power of the sword moves doubled. Thanks to the IOU written by Wilhelm back then, the Heavenly King sword is like a sponge full of water. Falling into Yabai's hands, the Heavenly King's sword was more than 100 times heavier than before. Fortunately, Yabai is a mage with extremely high strength attributes. No big deal. This sword cuts off the water flow. Saying that, Yabai moved forward and slashed out a sword. Breaking water was the first sword he learned from his second brother. At that time, Shura also called himself Senior Brother Duan Shui Shui. Who would have thought that Shui Meng also learned to cut off the flow of water? Then Yabai could only settle for the next best thing and become the junior uncle of Duan Shui Shui. As we all know, junior master uncle is generally very strong. After the sword was slashed out, Gabriel did not dodge or evade, but forcefully withstood the move blessed by the sword energy. Boom! Countless light feathers were flying, and the light wings behind Gabriel were like porcelain, breaking at the touch. Yabai shattered 2 light wings with a casual sword strike. Hiss! Yabai took a breath of cold air, a little surprised. Am I so strong now? Yes, Shura is that strong. It's Wilhelm's sword energy, you added Wilhelm's sword energy. Ignoring the scornful complaints, Yabai is bursting with confidence. The injured Gabriel still did not attack and signaled Shura to continue using his sword. This sword can reach the stars. Another sword slashed out, and Gabriel was hit hard again. Of the 8 wings of light, only 2.5 are left now. This sword, hold it, this sword should be said goodbye. Ye Bai's hand felt so hot that he almost used the power of Jian Tianqing. However, there is no fun in driving wooden stakes all the time. Gabriel looked at Shura, his eyes falling on the sword, full of awe. He spoke again. Since you have been recognized by this sword, have you ever created your own sword moves? Gabriel had seen the first two moves in Wuhan's hands. With these two swords of Shura, I learned a bit of charm, but that was all. Not as good as the double-eyed swordsman, not as good as that fierce man, let alone compared with Wuhan. Although Gabriel has been decadent for decades. But after staying on the 32nd floor for these years, watching the strong men of the human race come and go, he still knew how much strength Shura showed. However, the fight between the two sides until now has only been a trial. Hearing Gabriel's words, Ye Bai nodded. I did create a few swords of my own. The next moment, the shadow under Ye Bai's feet rushed out quickly. Shadow in the mirror kill. The shadow held a sword, and Ye Bai also held a sword, stabbing Gabriel one after another. Poof! Gabriel had no defense and allowed the Heavenly King's sword to pierce his chest. Black blood surged out, casting a layer of haze over the sacred place. Brush. Ye Bai drew his sword and retreated. Chuan Yan has already warned you about what trump card the other party is hiding. Gabriel, who was hit hard again by the sword just now, all the light wings on his back fell off. Black blood fell on the wound. Gabriel raised his head slightly, took a deep breath, and no longer suppressed the power in his body. Countless black lights surged out from the scars on his back and turned into wings. Born with 4 more wings than the same level? It's okay not to want this kind of natural thing. After seeing that sword, Gabriel set out on a new path. Recast, your own 12 black wings. The arrival of the black mist disrupted Gabriel's plan, and at the same time gave Gabriel an opportunity. A chance to fight against the strongest seeds of the human race again. A total of 12 black light wings turned into countless rays of light and merged into a pair of huge wings. Gabriel at this moment is extremely powerful, even more powerful than he was 72 years ago. The real battle begins now. With his wings flapping slightly, Gabriel stood in the sky, looking at Shura with a solemn expression. You still have a sword. As an opponent, he respects the opponent immensely. In return, Ye Bai showed the same respect. I realized this sword in front of the Death Burial Valley. The Heavenly King's sword in his hand slashed forward again, Ye Bai said softly. Death. Gabriel's pupils shrank slightly. Before the sword came, he actually wanted to escape. After 72 years, we once again face the most powerful seeds of the human race, and once again face the Heavenly King's sword. He seemed to recall the fear of being dominated by the sword energy again. No. Today, he has been working hard for 72 years, just to crush the darkness and break the fear. Overcoming his racial instinct, and wildly dancing his wings, Gabriel actually collided with the sword light. Dracula, who was watching the battle, put down the chicken wings in his hands and raised a chicken leg. Man! Boom! The sword light fell on Gabriel, but did not cause any harm to him. Just when Gabriel was surprised, he seemed to be suspended in mid-air as if his soul had left his body. In front of Gabriel, a phantom of light appeared. This is... Gabriel's eyes were dull and he was in endless shock. He saw himself 72 years ago. When death is activated, the scene of the target's strongest resistance to fate will be reproduced. The first time it acted on Cain, Cain became a little angry. Gabriel's most brutal battle with fate in his life was of course his battle with Wuhan. He didn't expect that the scene could be reproduced. In the scene, Gabriel, the 12-winged black angel, shows his majestic appearance and is extremely powerful. But his opponent is particularly vague. Countless sword energy surged out from the Heavenly King's sword, and the man's projection finally became clearer. Ye Bai's scalp was numb. Did he go too far this time? Because he could see clearly, the moment when the traceless projection was clear, it was like the finishing touch, it came to life. At Wilhelm's level of strength, any projection will make him feel the emotion, and he can even actively control it. Next moment, the man walked out of the projection, stood in front of Yabai, and took the Heavenly King's sword. He looked at the sluggish Shura, holding the sword in his hand, and asked eagerly, "Tell me, who do you want second brother to kill for you?" You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 543. Listening to Wilhelm's words, Yebai's Adam's apple moved slightly as his scalp was numb and he couldn't say a word. No need to. He never expected that the killing sword would not kill Gabriel, but instead invite his second brother. The nature of things has changed subtly. Wilhelm, who is holding the Heavenly King's sword, has an illusory figure, but he can still maintain it. He looked around and recognized this place. This is the 32nd floor. Right. Yabai came back to his senses, nodded and said, "I'm breaking through a level. Your projection is coming over. Is it okay? It's out of the way." Wilhelm shook his head and said calmly, "After decades of cutting into the abyss, it's good to have a chance to come out and relax." Yabai. Since the decisive battle with the most powerful demon, Wilhelm has never left the abyss. Even if it is projected, there are not many such opportunities. It is a mistake to hit the right mark. After a moment, Yabai also saw some clues. After coming out of the shadow, the traceless projection needs to consume sword energy all the time if it wants to stay on this level. This is why the first thing Wilhelm did was to take the Heavenly King's sword from Yabai. With the Heavenly King's sword in hand, the traceless projection can last longer. Of course, after the sword energy is consumed, Wilhelm's projection will also dissipate. Yabai gradually became bolder and asked tentatively, "How many swords can you use?" Wilhelm replied casually, "One sword." It's almost the same as Yabai guessed. Just when Yabai was thinking this, Wilhelm's elegant voice suddenly sounded in his ears. "With 3 swords, anyone below the 1000 level can be killed with 1 sword." Yabai looked at Wilhelm's projection. The other person didn't speak, but smiled knowingly. Yabai fell into silence again, almost autistic. "Second brother, to be honest, there is no need to be so strong. You'll make me look weak." Wilhelm looked past Gabriel and looked deep into the valley. In his field of vision, he could clearly see the existence of black fog, which was particularly eye-catching. "Half angel, half devil? It's a bit rare, it doesn't seem to have been chopped much." Wilhelm asked. "Beheaded for you?" "No, you don't need this, you really don't need it?" Yabai repeatedly emphasized. "I can just do it myself. Give me a chance to improve my record." "Understood." Wilhelm nodded and said seriously, "Are you going to kill alone again?" "Yabai." The second brother loves to joke. Wilhelm's state is different from Xiaoao. Third brother Xiaoao is the most powerful person in the contemporary era, his strength is at its true peak, and he usually has no restrictions on his attacks. If Xiaoao is willing, it will be no problem to split from the great demon god to the 13th demon god tomorrow. Traceless is a bit special. Mainly, the aftermath of the battle with the most powerful demon. Yabai still remembers this incident and plans to take the time to go to the abyss. The problem is, for this kind of thing, Yabai can't set off until Wilhelm nods first. The existence of sequelae, to a certain extent, meant that Wilhelm could not take action, but it was best not to take action. Therefore, even if Wilhelm offered to help kill Hiwu, Yabai would still refuse. This kind of garbage at level 999 can be left to the strongest seeds to level up. After being rejected, Wilhelm was not surprised. Instead, he looked at Gabriel in the field and asked, "You continue to fight?" Gabriel. He can endure hardships for 72 years, or he can mock Black Mist in person, and he can be the manliest angel in history. Only facing the swordsman in front of him, Gabriel couldn't bring himself to calm down at all. Cowardice before fighting, defeat before fighting. The black wings behind Gabriel slowly retracted, he shook his head and said, "I lost." After saying that, he sighed with emotion. "I didn't expect that after fighting with that taboo existence, you are actually still alive." There is something in this sentence. Yabai's eyes darkened slightly, his expression unchanged, as if he didn't hear anything. Shura's sword was a complete victory over Gabriel from every angle. The swordsman shook his head and said nothing more. Back then, Wilhelm defeated Gabriel with one sword, but did not kill him. This already explained a lot of things. In Wilhelm's view, Gabriel deserves higher achievements, stronger strength, and the opportunity to challenge himself again. In other words, in Wilhelm's opinion, the 72 years that Gabriel has been working hard have gone astray and all his time has been wasted. A strong person should be unstoppable and invincible. If God blocks him, he will kill God. If Buddha blocks Buddha, he will kill Buddha. Hidden clumsiness. Hide your shit. Of course, Wilhelm, as a grumpy old man, did not bother to tell Gabriel, his defeated general, these instructions. Even Shura will stand up when it's time to stand up. Even Shura can't do this kind of thing in front of his face. The atmosphere suddenly became silent. Fight or not, Yabai still had to wait for the Dragon Clan to come, so the three of them had nothing to do for a while. Wilhelm's hands were itching unbearably. "I can't kill Black Mist and I'm too lazy to kill Gabriel, otherwise." Wilhelm looked at Shura. "Shura, danger. Wait a moment, I'm stuck, I'm making a deal with a friend." As he spoke, Yabai moved a few steps around. He summoned the Eternal Core Crystal and lowered his voice and said, "Brother, are you there? Let me borrow something." After a while, Taling replied angrily, "No fire. Who asked you to lend me a light? I don't smoke." Yabai whispered, "The debt you owed me last time, do you remember?" Taling is anxious. "When did I owe you a debt?" "Wilhelm, he slandered me. You human race's strongest seed slandered me." "Shut up." Yabai reached out and pressed down the Eternal Core Crystal to prevent the tower spirit from shouting. "Look, I knew you forgot." Yabai waved his hand, indicating not to care about these details. "On the 29th floor, I helped you deal with the aura of the most powerful demon god escaping, and there was another time before that. As for whether it is useful or how useful it is, Yabai is not sure. Only after Yabai summoned the Eternal Core Crystal did he discover it." Yabai said firmly. Yabai wanted to use the Tower Spirit's hand to gather these sword energies. "It's a deal. Who in a normal person would dare to bite the second brother Wilhelm and the third brother Xiaoyao? Call Shura a coward, but he is also very brave when it comes to seeking death. That's it. However, Taling has one last request. One fish eats many, right? I swear on Yingju's honor." "Why is he here?" Yabai expressed his thoughts. "This layer is under the control of the most powerful demon god, so much so that even the tower spirit doesn't know when the traceless projection is coming. Now, come to Taling with this IOU. Taling. If you have something to say, tell me quickly. What bad idea do you have?" The problem is, the Eternal Core Crystal turned sideways slightly and confirmed the appearance of the swordsman. It was that man. When the second brother's projection dissipates, he can still take away the sword energy. Wilhelm once broke into the tower and left many traces. In a sense, he also left a lot of sword energy. Both timid and brave belong to Yes. Taling is fed up with this guy, he's so cowardly. Yabai said the bravest words in an extremely small voice. Naturally, the more things the merrier has when it comes to empty-handed things. After this incident, you and I will completely settle our previous debts and we will not owe each other anything. In short, you can gather as much wool as you can. We are all reasonable people, so just tell us whether you accept this account or not. Why, Eternal Tower, my second brother can't come. Is such that? Taling hesitated for a moment and then agreed. Taling urged. At any other time, the tower spirit would definitely have to settle this account with Shura. Don't be afraid of too much of a good thing. From a certain perspective, Yebai's words were correct. The problem is, Yebai has long used this excuse to owe classmates Yaoi more than 30 favors. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 544. Swear in the name of Yingju. The eternal core crystal almost shattered to the ground. If that old guy had credibility, the history of the human race would not be written like this. Taling made his request. You swear in the name of Xiaoyao. Yabai shook his head and refused. No, it's too much to swear by third brother. I'm afraid I might accidentally break it one day. After making so many oaths, wouldn't it be exhausting Yabai to death if he had to fix the bugs one by one? It would be more cost-effective to swear directly in the name of Yingju. There is no need to deal with the bug at all, just breach the contract. Taling. Finally, after some pulling and pulling, both parties reached an agreement. Yabai swore in the name of Shueju, and the tower spirit helped collect sword energy. Without letting Yabai wait for too long, a ball of white light floated out of the eternal core crystal. Below the 32nd floor, all the sword energy Wilhen once left. Yabai was about to reach out to pick it up, but the eternal core crystal avoided it. Let Wilhen get it himself. Eternal core crystal adds. If you're not afraid of death. What a joke, I, Shura, am a person who is greedy for life and afraid of death. Yabai reprimanded the tower spirit confidently. After speaking, Yabai turned around and shouted. Second brother, there is your express delivery. Hearing Shura's words, Gabriel couldn't hide the surprise on his face and couldn't help but ask. Are you really his second brother? Originally, Wilhen was too lazy to talk to Gabriel. But when the other party asked about Shura, he barely said a few words. My useless adopted son receives a lot of care from Shura on weekdays. A certain supreme adopted son. I see. Gabriel nodded slowly. If there is such a relationship, there seems to be nothing wrong with treating each other as brothers. After hearing Shura's words, Wilhen walked over and glanced at the eternal core crystal. The eternal core crystal began to tremble. Yabai cursed in a low voice, spineless thing. Look how scared you are. Taling cursed back in his ear. So, you are brave enough to see Wilhen for the first time. Crows don't laugh at pigs. The first time Shura dealt with the traceless projection, Tanyan was frightened to death. I'm not, I didn't, don't talk nonsense. Obviously, 3 awakenings gave Tanyan a confidence he shouldn't have. Looking at the eternal core crystal, Wilhen had a rare look of nostalgia on his face. The time when he broke through the levels with a sword was probably the happiest time in Wilhen's life. With a sword in your hand, in this vast world, where can't you go? If it weren't for the human race, with Wilhen alone and one sword, no existence in the sky or on earth could threaten him. Whether it is this world or the upper world. The ball of white light slowly flew up and fell into Wilhen's palm. Before he could make the next move, Shura hid far away. Second brother, stop it, I said stop it. Yabai raised his hand and tried to stop Wilhen. Just keep this sword energy. I am a mage, why should I learn swordsmanship? Isn't this not doing my job properly? I want to specialize in mage and become the strongest as soon as possible. Yabai was really scared. The last time he gave a gift to his third brother Xiaoao, Ye Bai brought a money tree to his door. The results of it? The gift was not delivered. Xiaoao directly super doubled the money tree. How can there be any reason for giving gifts to become a waste of money? This time, Ye Baikong used White Wolf to gather the sword energy from the tower spirit's hand. If the second brother backhands another super double, the misunderstanding will be huge. Even if Ye Bai jumped into the Yellow River, he wouldn't be able to escape. He, Shura, is really not such a person. Wilhen thought for a while, nodded slightly. It makes sense. He gave up his previous thoughts and allowed the white light sword energy to sink into his body, and the projection became clearer. Just as Ye Bai guessed. The projection that stays in the eternal tower consumes sword energy to continue to exist. As for whether the second brother can bring these sword energy back to the abyss through projection, that is not Ye Bai's concern. This is not something level 499 should worry about. Hiss. Gabriel on the side took a breath and looked at Shura with admiration for the second time. What kind of character is Wilhen? Gabriel, who once competed on the road to power, dare not say that he fully understands it, at least he knows a little bit about it. Sword wielders are always very assertive. Very few people can change what Wilhen believes. Shura can make Wilhen change his mind with just a few words. Obviously, Shura has a magical charm about him. Gabriel fell into deep thought. Could it be that this generation of the most powerful seeds of the human race followed the path of human nature? Let's go and walk around. After putting away the sword energy, Wilhen did not look at the valley. Instead, he turned around and took Ye Bai towards the town. Back then, I went through the border too quickly and missed a lot of scenery. I rarely had time to come back and take a look. Ye Bai had already learned about this in his previous chat with Xiaoao. The strongest men of all ages have achieved the achievement of clearing the Eternal Tower. In other words, only after passing the level can you be qualified to be called the strongest. But that's all. These two people are actually shopping. Although this vampire is dirty, weak, and vulnerable. I have altered the river of blood without authorization, and I still have the aura of Poseidon on my body. It is such a perverse act. Gabriel glanced at Dracula. Gabriel took a second look and immediately discovered the problem. Gabriel didn't understand. If it hadn't been for that sword back then, Gabriel would have entered the Eternal Temple by now, trying to reach the most powerful position. Gabriel himself, both in terms of strength and potential, is the strongest in the history of the Angel clan. Gabriel was a little surprised. For the strong, isn't money a burden? Gabriel looked confused. What money? Dracula said seriously. Wilhen was in front, Ye Bai followed closely, and Gabriel followed not far away. However, there seems to be something different. If there is, then 2 shots. Prepare money for what? Have the money ready. Dracula moved closer to Gabriel and whispered. The lower 3 tribes are not worth worrying about for Gabriel. Back then on the 32nd floor, Wilhen defeated Gabriel with 1 sword, borrowed something from the Angel clan, and left in a hurry. The premise is that Dracula must defeat the strongest seed of the vampire family and replace him. Visiting the old place again feels like it did back then. This vampire actually betrayed the blood ancestor. There is no enemy that a thunderbolt cannot defeat. It was clear that he was going through a level and fighting against the men of the most powerful demon. There were level 999 powerful enemies not far away, and even powerful dragons were about to arrive. The white-robed swordsman wandered around the empty town, followed by the black-robed mage. If this vampire successfully reaches the top, it has a chance to become the new blood ancestor. After so many years, I don't know if the vampires still have such a thing. Unfortunately, he met Wilhen. Dracula understood. Being Shura's follower should not be that simple. His eyes looked forward again. Although surprised. Shura's confidence and calmness do not come from Wuhan, but from his confidence in his own strength. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 545. What nonsense are you telling the truth? Ye Bai turned back and glared at Dracula. Opponents who cannot be killed by a thunderbolt should run away quickly. Running and shaking people at the same time is the truth. Solo kill? Non-existent. Killing with one strike and escaping thousands of miles have always been Ye Bai's fighting principles. He can survive until now because of his caution. After scolding Dracula, Ye Bai turned around and continued to follow Wuhan. The sword energy gathered from the tower spirit earlier made the second brother's projection a little stronger. At the same time, it brings an unexpected effect. The Eye of Insight gave a mosquito-sized reminder in the lower right corner. You can try to parse the current status of the target, success rate, 2.8%. Hiss. Ye Bai didn't expect that the powerful SSS level talent could be so powerful. Insightful I admit, I used to speak a little loudly. Ye Bai calmly chose to analyze. He wanted to see clearly what the sequelae of his second brother were so that he could find a way to prescribe the right medicine. To some extent. It's not that he has become jealous, but Wuhan's state is really not good. According to the Kenyan theory of relativity, the enemy's deceleration is equal to my acceleration. A traceless weakening is equivalent to an eye-catching enhancement, which is very reasonable. Wuhan's condition was so bad that it was possible for Tanyan's analysis to be successful. If Wuhan was in his prime state, even if he had awakened Tanyan 8 times, he might not have a chance to successfully analyze it. Parse failed. Parse failed. Reminders popped up in front of him again and again, but Ye Bai ignored them. As long as you can't solve it to death, just go to death. The success rate is 2.8%. If Ye Bai analyzes it 10,000 times, it will be successful 280 times. Rounded up, it equals approximately 10,000 successes. The two walked down the empty street one behind the other. Wuhan said leisurely. Xueju is an interesting person, much more interesting than Yingju. Ye Bai fell into silence again. He couldn't accept this. Xueju, who became a taboo in the Eternal Temple, was called the Human King and suppressed his peers with one sword and one sword. In Ye Bai's understanding. In the Nightmare generation, excluding the strongest, Xueju is the strongest existence. You know, the success rate of the strong men of the Nightmare generation, both in terms of quality and quantity, is very terrifying. Lan Bangxian, Huo Tianwang, Zhao Qian, Sun Li. It seems like something strange has been mixed in. Among these people, Xuejian dominates everyone, which shows that his strength is terrifying. As for Yingju and Master Ju, there is no need to say more. Chasing the devil throughout the abyss, this man is probably the first. Only Wuhan dared to point fingers at Xueju and Yingju at the same time. Wuhan continued. You also know that when I created the shadow. Ye Bai. Stop. Question marks began to appear above Ye Bai's head. Second brother, Master Ju, I mean, Master Yingju told me at the beginning that shadow was created by nightmares. Ye Bai almost died. First call me second brother, and then call me Juyu. Isn't this super reducing the second brother's generation? Wuhan saw Ye Bai's thoughts and smiled lightly. It doesn't matter. When I couldn't beat Xiaoju, I called him Master Ju. Hiss. Ye Bai began to reflect, could it be that bullying the weak and fearing the strong was the strongest spirit passed down from generation to generation by the strongest seeds? That must be the case. Do not mind the details. Ye Bai asked the question he was most concerned about. Why would Master Ju lie to me? Shadow was created by nightmare. You have to ask Xiaoju about this. Wuhan said calmly. I haven't been back to Blue Star for so many years. God knows what Xiaju is busy with. According to the timeline Ye Bai knows. After Xueju broke into the strong abyss alone, he sent Yingju and the heavenly king sword out. Yingju, who survived the catastrophe, ran to the eternal temple and deceived his younger brother into lameness. The two parties worked together to create the Shadow Castle, which was also the prototype of Shadow. The first task created by Shadow is to protect the most powerful seeds without trace. From a certain perspective, there seems to be no problem with Wuhan claiming to have created the Shadow. But the historical inventor Yingju should not be that simple. What Yingju is best at is to always be true. Use tons of false information to cover up the core and most critical information. However, Ye Bai didn't know, what exactly was this information. This key information was so important that Master Ju tried his best to deceive himself. Ye Bai remembered clearly that his third brother Xiao once told him that Master Ju had lied to him twice. Could the shadow thing be one of them? Xueju has something to say. Ye Bai noticed that the second brother's expression became more relaxed when he mentioned Yingju, as if he was mentioning an old friend. When it comes to Xueju, his tone is slightly serious and his expression is a little sad. Because Xueju died and didn't even have the chance to become a shadow. Xueju said back then that the whole truth of this world is cruel. For the weak, it would be better to know it later. Ye Bai was silent. The weak one here refers to him. To a certain extent, Ye Bai is no longer weak. Awakening his talent so far, he has made every effort. In less than 2 months, Ye Bai has grown to the level of a 9th level war god. If placed in the strongest seeds, this would be considered qualified. The only problem is that the enemies are too strong. The most powerful demon god is like a silent mountain. In front of him, the 9th level god of war was as small as dust. Stop looking. Wilhen suddenly spoke, asking Ye Bai to stop. Ye Bai didn't have any embarrassment on his expression, and even nodded naturally, okay. Apparently, Wilhen noticed the first step that Ye Bai, an old Chinese medicine doctor, took when he started looking, hearing and asking questions. Or, under Wilhen's deliberate concealment, Tanyan's so-called success rate was just a joke. Ye Bai cursed secretly in his heart. Puh! What a shame. Do you also have SSS level talents? I know you have questions. Wilhen said seriously. Although I don't support Xueju's approach in this matter, I think what Xueju said is right. Letting the strongest seeds know the whole truth later is the only way they can protect the strongest seeds. Everyone on the street stopped at the same time, turned around, and looked toward the valley. There, a terrifying aura is coming. In the deepest part of the valley, on the sacrificial circle, the angel clan has consumed decades of savings and finally reached the final step. A bright colored light burst out, spreading out along with the dragon's power fluctuations. This beam of light rose into the sky and became the brightest point on the 32nd floor. And, your sacrifice, your begging, I heard it. Many powerful angels near the sacrifice formation, no matter how strong they were suppressed by this dragon power and were unable to move. After sacrificing such a huge treasure, the rewards in return are beyond imagination. The powerful dragon spirit descends, accompanied by divine whispers. I am the dragon clan who has climbed to the highest peak. I am the dragon who bears the most powerful curse after the end of the world. A vague dragon shadow appeared in front of the angels. Dragon Shadow raised his head, and a piece of colorful scales under his neck shone brightly. Except for this scale, the other scales are all golden and blinding. I was born in the darkness, became dominant in the end of the world, and fell in the upper world. I am destined to lead the dragon clan to rise again. I am. With great pride, Longying roared out his name. The golden dragon of greed. Such a grand appearance, coupled with the vast dragon power, shocked every angel present. No one noticed that the black mist from the abyss had quietly left long ago and did not dare to stay on the 32nd floor. The roar of the greedy golden dragon echoed over the valley for a long time. The most powerful seed of the human race, tremble. Be afraid. Surrender to greed. The next moment, a swordsman in white appeared above the dragon, looking down at the dragon. Listening to Long Ying's words, the corners of the white-clothed swordsman's mouth curled up slightly, with a hint of curiosity in his tone. Oh. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjio Old Thief. Chapter 546. What did you say? The swordsman in white is very polite. The wind was too loud and I couldn't hear clearly. The golden dragon's shadow flashed past and quickly distanced itself from the swordsman in white. The golden dragon, who was so arrogant just now, is now facing a powerful enemy, and the dragon scales all over his body are trembling crazily. The sense of oppression this strange man brought to him was so terrifying. The human race, when did people like you appear? The golden dragon looked at the other party warily. Although he descended to the 32nd floor in the form of a soul. However, the strength of the golden dragon is the best among the best. He was born from the dragon clan of the upper three clans, the purest bloodline of the golden dragon. It took tens of thousands of years to hatch him. He was an egg before the Tower of Eternity was forged. The Eternal Tower was successfully cast, but he was still an egg. After being taken to the upper world and successfully hatched, he accidentally fell back to this world and returned to the Eternal Tower. He is the most powerful seed of this generation of the Dragon Clan. He is associated with the origin of greed and is extremely powerful. If it weren't for avoiding entering the Eternal Temple, the Golden Dragon would have reached level 999 and tried to reach the top. But the Golden Dragon never expected that when he went to the 32nd floor, he would encounter such a heaven-defying person. He wants to go home. There is only one person as strong as me in the human race. The swordsman in white said modestly. There are two others who are slightly weaker than me. Yebai, who was coming, almost fell down when he heard this. Oh, I made a mistake, it's three. Wilhen is very rigorous. Apart from him, there are three people in total including the most powerful person and the most powerful person in reserve. In Wilhen's opinion, they are all a little weaker than him. Of course, Shura is a million points weaker. Small differences. This swordsman is obviously super strong but too strict. After hearing the words of the white-clothed swordsman, the golden dragon did not relax its vigilance and sprayed out two streams of dragon flames from its nostrils. You are just a projection, and you can give me a sense of threat. The golden dragon treats the enemy in front of him with the greatest respect, uses the limit of his imagination, and thinks of the enemy as the strongest. If you come in true form, and you and I fight with all our strength, the outcome will probably be between 50 and 50. Yeah, bye. Gabriel, Dracula. Those present who had been hacked without a trace and those who had not been hacked were all silent. How many dishes are there, so drunk? Wilhen didn't feel offended, but nodded slightly. Unfamiliar face. When the Dragon Clan was slaughtered, I had never seen this Dragon Clan's most powerful seed. Facing a powerful enemy, Golden Dragon showed enough respect and said frankly. 30 years ago, I fell from the upper world and came to the Eternal Tower. Everyone present nodded, showing expressions of enlightenment. No wonder you are so brave. He only came to the Eternal Tower 30 years ago, which means that the Golden Dragon successfully avoided all the strongest ones. In the past 30 years, on the 3-acre land of the Dragon Clan, the Golden Dragon has been invincible and invincible. Of course, there is no popular science history about Long He. 3 super powerful men once passed by one after another, and the Dragon Clan experienced 3 crises that nearly led to annihilation. In the eyes of the older generation of the Dragon Clan, this kind of black history must be sealed. They have no historical inventors, only historical sealers. The Golden Dragon was the victim of the historical sealer, and Yabai was the victim of the historical inventor. The victim was met and it belongs. From the first moment he saw the other party, Yabai's eyes could not be separated from the Golden Dragon's scales. Dracula on the side sneered. It's bad luck if there is a dragon, I won't tell who it is. The Golden Dragon still wants to run away in front of Shura. Dream. Let me introduce to you, this is Shura, the most powerful seed of the human race. The swordsman in white pointed at the mage in black robe and introduced himself. I am his second brother, and he has a third brother, who is as boring as a wooden pile. Yabai. Second brother, I don't feel comfortable saying this. Dracula on the side had silently blocked his ears. It's not the first time that Wilhelm calls Xiao Aomajuan. It doesn't matter what the second brother or the third brother is. After Golden Dragon saw Wilhelm's details, he became arrogant again. As the most powerful seed of the dragon race, I initiate a most powerful battle with the most powerful seed of the human race. How about a fair and upright battle for the strongest? The Golden Dragon's words seemed arrogant, but in reality they were cunning. He didn't want to make an enemy of the swordsman in white, so he specifically chose Shura, who looked weaker. Moreover, the struggle for the strongest among the strongest seeds is reasonable. No, that's not fair. Wilhelm said rigorously. You only have your soul here. Shura is a man who values fairness and cannot take advantage of you. Question marks appeared again on Yabai's head. It's enough to fight level 499 against level 989. The other party also needs to be at full status, otherwise it's considered an advantage. Has the most powerful seed of the human race always been so crazy? Why don't I, Shura, know this? No matter what, if you say harsh words, the second brother has already been released. If Yabai doesn't act arrogantly, it will be difficult to end the situation. It's really unfair. Yabai looked at the Golden Dragon. We are going to your house now. We have agreed in advance that if I kill you, your body will be mine. Arrogant person. The Golden Dragon didn't pay attention to Shura's arrogance. I can't take you through the Eternal Tower, so I can suffer a little loss. No, you can't. Wilhelm's attitude is very tough and he will never let the Dragon Clan's Lao Jin suffer. Since we can't have a complete battle of the strongest, how about changing to a bet? The Golden Dragon was a little moved. Tell me the story. Anyway, he won't lose no matter how much he bets. Traceless issuance conditions. Shura will bear your full blow. If he survives, I will kill you with my sword. The Golden Dragon sneered. What if I don't agree? Wilhelm's response was also very simple and domineering. Then I will kill you with my sword now. With the Heavenly King's sword in hand, who can be afraid of this eternal tower? Golden Shenlong felt that it was difficult to make things right today. He didn't want to waste his strength here, so he could only nod in agreement. If I win, let me leave this floor. No problem. After convincing the Golden Dragon, Wilhelm looked at Yabai and finished the other person's ideological work in one sentence. What are you afraid of? You can save the world. Yabai nodded steadily. That's right, he has the power to save the world, and his ability to save lives is invincible. When you're ready, you can start anytime. As soon as Wilhelm finished speaking, the Golden Dragon launched a shameless sneak attack. Greedy lust. A ray of black light, in full view of everyone, rushed towards Shura at an extremely fast speed and hit him hard. Shura, you will definitely lose. The Golden Dragon roared wildly and showed off wantonly. Being hit by greed, you will be dominated by greed, become a puppet of greed, and eventually lead to destruction. Whatever saves your life. Listening to the Golden Dragon's taunt, Yabai raised his hand in confusion, interrupting the opponent's declaration of victory. That's it? Yabai thought that the opponent had rubbed the vitality bomb, but in the end, it didn't even cause 1 point of damage. Although he didn't know what happened, Yabai knew that at this time, he had to slap the other person in the face hard. How crazy you were just now, how sissy you are now. Now that the roles of the two have been reversed, Yabai will let the golden dragon know what true cruelty is. No way, there's no way someone's ultimate move has no effect at all. Hurry up and get a DNA test to check your blood relationship with Su Qingfeng. The most powerful seed of the dragon clan, if it continues like this, it will lose to the human clan, then the blood clan, the werewolf clan, and finally the angel clan. There will be no one left to lose. The golden dragon looked at the scene in front of him and fell into a daze. How is this going? An invincible trick that even used the source of greed to perform this move. Why does it fail? Is it cheating? Unfair. The golden dragon was about to accuse the other party of cheating, but the swordsman in white gave up the idea. Wilhen said seriously. I guarantee with the lives of the golden dragon lineage that the ability to withstand this blow depends entirely on Shura himself. The golden dragon fell silent again, eliminating all possibilities, leaving the only option, no matter how bizarre, is the correct answer. There is only one possibility for the other party to rely on itself and ignore the damage caused by the source of greed. Shura's greed is far greater than that of the golden dragon. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 547. The dragon is stupid. He never expected that the trick he carefully selected, the attack from the companion source, would fail for this reason. He is greedy, Shura is even greedier than him. Shura, who knew nothing about the truth, was still full of pride at this time. The golden dragon fell silent. He really didn't know what to say in this situation. Should he let go of the source of his greed, put it on Shura's head, and boast, "You are the most greedy existence. No shame." What's even more terrifying is, that bet. The golden dragon looked at the swordsman in white, extremely wary, his vertical pupils narrowed, which contained a variety of emotions. Fear, nervousness, fear. According to the bet, after Shura withstood his full blow, he would take a sword from the opponent. As the most powerful seed of the dragon clan, it took tens of thousands of years to hatch. How could his wisdom be so low? Before the bet started, Golden Dragon had considered the worst-case scenario. For this reason, he made preparations early. We, the Dragon Clan, are the head of the 3 upper clans and are the most honest race in the world. The Golden Divine Dragon spoke proudly, his voice loud and clear, echoing throughout the world. Even if I didn't swear on my soul in the previous bet, I'm still willing to fulfill my promise. Upon hearing the Golden Dragon's words, Gabriel and Dracula both showed disgust. Obviously, they were very disdainful of the Golden Dragon's words. If the Angel clan is Su Qingfeng from the middle 3 clans, then the Dragon clan is Su Qingfeng from the upper 3 clans. Maybe there is no Su Qingfeng in this world, maybe everyone is Su Qingfeng. On the contrary, the swordsman in white nodded slowly and agreed with the Golden Dragon's statement. Indeed, the dragons I met always kept their promises. Yeah, bye. Second brother, what you are talking about is not the same thing at all, okay. The Dragon Clan kept its promise in front of Wuhan because the Dragon Clan could not bear the consequences of not keeping its promise. Do you understand what the feeling of oppression felt by the most powerful person is without trace? After receiving a shot of greed of desire, Yebai didn't suffer any damage. Instead, he felt warm all over his body and his mood was much better. However, Yebai would think of Xuemeng inexplicably. Yebai calculated in his mind. After completing the mission today, go to the wolf's lair and ask Xuemeng to buy me a drink. I haven't seen Xuemeng for a long time and wanted to catch up on old times. As I said before, I am willing to honor this bet. The golden dragon said with sincerity. Since you want to kill me with a sword, I respond with the strongest defensive posture, which is the greatest respect for this sword. Before he finished speaking, a hint of cunning flashed in his golden eyes. The golden dragon thought he was hiding well. However, in the eyes of everyone, he is as simple as a blank sheet of paper. Dracula shook his head. Fullier than Cain. Cain is still alive. Gabriel's tone was slightly surprised. He didn't expect to hear this ancient name in this place. Don't worry, when you get to the sheepfold, there will be plenty of time to catch up on old times. Dracula did not continue the topic, but returned his attention to the battlefield. Faced with the golden dragon's request, Wilhelm was naturally willing to agree. Even Yabai understood the truth. In the face of absolute strength, it is useless to be clever. Yabai stood aside, waiting to see how this farce would end. Take out the staff. Wilhelm suddenly spoke. Yabai's eyes lit up, he immediately reacted and put the power of nature in front of him. The golden dragon is in the form of a spiritual body, and the second brother wants to kill him again. The power of nature has its power. From the perspective of the weapon spirit, the SSS level equipment, the power of nature, is the equipment that Yabai can best use now. In order to upgrade the power of nature to the SSS level, Yabai spent hundreds of thousands of God of War feats and almost went bankrupt. At the same time, as an offensive weapon and the most important equipment for a mage, the selection of weapon spirits must be rigorous. The most powerful seed from the Dragon clan, although it doesn't look very smart, it is still acceptable. Mainly because I like this shiny golden dragon scale. The most powerful seeds are not important. Moreover, Yabai was also very interested in learning about the origin of greed associated with the other party. The more he looked at the golden dragon, the more Yabai liked it. If it were Yabai himself, he would be able to defeat the opponent, and even successfully kill the opponent before he escapes. But I want to use death to forcibly seal the golden dragon in the power of nature. It is indeed a bit difficult for the mage Shura. Let the second brother come. This is called professional. Wilhelm held the heavenly king's sword, looked at the golden dragon with interest, and said, "Are you ready? It's been a long time since I've killed such a weak opponent, and it feels quite fresh. Get ready." The golden divine dragon made a long sound, and the light of the magic circle suddenly erupted from the soles of his feet. In front of him, a teleportation channel appeared. The golden dragon is going to return to his true form and leave the 32nd floor. Once this transmission channel is opened, he will be invincible. Only the caster and the clan elder at the other end can close the teleportation channel. The golden dragon wants to escape, so of course he won't close the passage by himself. He punched the golden dragon in the face, and while knocking the opponent back, he closed the transmission channel as quickly as possible. How is he still alive? The sound came one after another, carrying the power of the dragon, making the golden dragon feel extremely warm. The sky echoed with the roar of the elder of the dragon clan. The many clan elders guarding in front of the passage instantly felt their eyes split open and their livers and gallbladders shattered. The rich man calmed down his mood and added. At the moment when the plan succeeded, the golden dragon burst out laughing wildly, extremely proud. After the golden dragon card bug was successful, the swordsman in white stood there without any movement, with a meaningful smile on his face. See clearly, that outfit, white clothes. The teleportation channel opened a little further, and the golden dragon had already started teleporting and was about to leave the 32nd floor. It's you. Then. At this moment, the clan elder on the other side of the passage also saw clearly the enemy facing the golden dragon. I only agreed to let you kill me with one sword, but I didn't say when you would kill me. Any behavior of the greedy golden snake is a snake behavior. Please do not ascend to the dragon clan. Evil. You have been expelled from the dragon clan, effective immediately. As long as he can return to the 82nd level and become one with his true body, what's there to fear? The golden dragon kept rolling, his face was dull, and he still hadn't figured out what was going on. In the eyes of Golden Shenlong, he has a good chance of winning. Save the dragon. If you have the ability, chase me to the 82nd floor. I'll wait for you in the dragon clan's forbidden area. He is the most powerful seed of the dragon clan, the pride of the dragon clan, and the only existence in the past 10,000 years that has any hope of attacking the dragon god. Not only did he speak clearly, but he also deliberately used human language instead of dragon language. Very precious. It's our strongest seed asking for help. The most powerful elder from a wealthy family has the fastest reaction. Boom. The transmission channel slowly closed, and the golden dragon was knocked back to the 32nd floor by an old punch. Listen to the beings on the other side of the passage. Any behavior that harms the most powerful seeds of the dragon clan is an enemy of the entire dragon clan. 70% belongs to you. It's even more impossible for the clan elder. The golden divine dragon grinned its huge mouth and said proudly. The transmission channel was further opened, and the clan elder's voice was heard from the other side. That man is back. In a life and death battle, the outcome is 30% to 70%. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 548. Fan behavior, don't raise idols. The Dragon Clan told the Golden Dragon with practical actions. Why do the Dragon Clan keep their promises in front of Wuhan? When Wuhan is willing to have a good talk with you, you'd better have a good talk with him. Otherwise, it's time to talk to Wuhan Jian. The Golden Dragon was thrown back to the 32nd floor, his mind went blank. He couldn't understand why the clan elders were so respectful in front and so naughty in others. Where is the promised Xian seed? What about being enemies with the Dragon Clan? How could he be expelled from the dragon status with a backhand? Is this worthy of being called the Three Clans? The greedy Golden Dragon has a broken mentality. The swordsman in white floated in front of the Golden Dragon and asked calmly. Are you ready? Not yet. Before the Golden Dragon finished speaking, he was interrupted by Wuhan. If I kill you, what does it have to do with whether you are prepared or not? Everyone onlookers nodded. I'm sure, it's still the same grumpy old man, it's a familiar smell. A flash of sword light flashed, and the golden divine dragon was directly sealed into the power of nature before he could even let out a mournful cry. Death. Even Ye Bai's original sword moves, when used from Wuhan's hands, don't feel of the same level. Ye Bai held his breath and concentrated, trying to see clearly the moment when the golden dragon resisted fate in his life. Then. Gone. What about resistance? What about high inflammation scenes? Ye Bai looked confused and looked around, but nothing happened. Wuhan shook his head slightly and smiled without saying a word. Enough of wandering around, I have something else to do, so let's go first. With that said, the swordsman in white threw the Heavenly King's sword back in front of Ye Bai, took another step forward, and stood between heaven and earth. Wuhan yawned and said a little casually. Wooden stake, open the door. A portal instantly appeared in front of Wuhan. He stepped into it and disappeared. Ye Bai, who stayed where he was, fell into deep thought. Why isn't the golden dragon's resistance to fate shown in this life? He couldn't understand this question. Dracula asked thoughtfully from the side. Is there a possibility? Has he never resisted fate in his life? Ye Bai. Looking at the power of nature's staff again, Ye Bai felt that the choice of this weapon spirit might not be very suitable. Why do you feel that sealing old Su is stronger than this broken dragon? Seeing the displeasure in the demon lord's heart, Dracula thoughtfully added. Master, pure gold is very soft. Gabriel looked confused. What does this have to do with pure gold? Why can't I understand this conversation between master and servant? Hearing Dracula's explanation, Yabai was in a good mood and suddenly realized. Pure gold is soft. The softer the golden dragon, the purer the gold. He had drifted with the flow of his life and never resisted his fate once. He looked very embarrassed. Actually, it's really embarrassing. However, it is precisely because of this that the purity of this gold is enough. Yabai looked at his natural power. The originally messy-shaped staff was now coated with a layer of gold and looked particularly pleasing. However, the golden dragon has just been sealed in and has not yet been completely integrated with the power of nature. The corresponding attributes and introduction can only be viewed later. The second brother didn't know what he was busy with. He had to seize the time to get through. Putting away the power of nature staff, Yabai turned his gaze to the valley below. In the valley, black miasma was billowing, and monsters kept rushing out of it, destroying everything around them and killing the members of the angel clan. This is what black mist left behind. After the traceless projection appeared on the 32nd floor, Hiwa realized that something was wrong. When the golden dragon arrived, he looked for an opportunity to slip away. Originally, according to Wuhan's character, this kind of thing could be killed with just one sword. But since Shura had promised to kill level 999 Black Mist alone, Wuhan let her go. Although Heiwu left, he still left a mess for Yabai. The monsters in this black miasma must be cleared before the level can be cleared. After scanning a few times to make sure there was no strong person hiding in the dark, Yabai felt relieved. Yabai had already stacked it up and was ready to go, so Yabai took action decisively. Thunder. Boom. Gabriel had never seen such thunder and lightning, and the horrific scenes kept repeating in his pupils, leaving a deep impression on him. A bolt of red lightning jumped back and forth between the monsters, and wherever it went, the black monsters were chopped into ashes. Snapped. The thunder bounced onto a new monster without causing any damage. Rubber is a rubber monster. The new batch of monsters born in the miasma are directly immune to lightning. Obviously, it is a bit difficult for Shura to directly pass the level with the help of Sky Thunder. Gabriel couldn't help but look forward to it. The vampire had told him before. There's nothing that can't be solved by one thunderbolt. If there is, just two. Now, he has seen the thunder. Gabriel wanted to see if the two thunderbolts would make a qualitative difference. Then, Shura's actions were beyond Gabriel's imagination. All things are born. Chaos thunder. Even more terrifying white thunder and lightning fell. With just one shot, most of the miasma was dispersed. Yabai still held 3 useless rounds of chaos thunder in his hand. No more pretending, just show your cards. Immune to lightning? Yabai was really hurt. Chaos thunder fell one after another, the miasma was cleared, and Yabai's exploration rate reached 100%. Of course, there are still many remaining monsters on the battlefield, fighting against many angels. Yabai did not continue to take action, but stood aside and watched coldly. The battle was fierce, monsters kept dying, and angels kept falling from the sky. If you are really forced into a desperate situation of life and death, even an angel will not sit still and wait for death. Gabriel did not take action immediately, but lowered his head slightly and stood in front of Shura. Gabriel said in a deep voice. Yabai didn't speak. The angel clan is not only found on the 32nd floor. Between the 31st and 60th floors, there are many places where the angel clan has settled. They are all very wealthy. Gabriel said seriously. The angels will give you a price that satisfies you. Gabriel reacted and coughed twice to cover up his embarrassment. All the floor tiles in the treasure house have been removed. Yabai can go to the theater, but Gabriel can't. These angels help the tyrants to do harm, act as villains, and try to bet on both sides, but neither side is offended. When did it happen? Why didn't he know? Xuemeng looked in the mirror. He was no longer a human being, just a fat sheep. Dracula got behind Gabriel and kicked him quietly. After this incident, the Angel clan will pay the price for their actions. Ye Bai smiled and shook his head gently. Gabriel was stunned and immediately added, "I'm not a gangster. On the battlefield, no angel has fallen so far, and at most they have only been seriously injured." Ahem. After all, he was once the most powerful seed of the Angel clan, and he could not just watch his people being devoured by the flames of war before his eyes. Gabriel's attitude was very low, without any arrogance of an angel. "How come I heard that you are so poor that even the floor tiles in the treasure house have been emptied?" There was no need for Ye Bai to speak. Dracula said coldly with a straight face. "From every angle, Gabriel is the loser. Take whatever you like. Now, please allow me to take action to rescue the remaining clan members. Besides, who is so bold, who is so greedy? Even the floor tiles are not spared. I could be the one." The most powerful seed of the human race has proven itself with its strength. He has been a loser for 72 years and knows very well what attitude a loser should have. A question mark appeared above Gabriel's head. "But if you don't have money, why are you talking about adding more money? To make money from Xeon seed, you must pay attention to what you say." In fact, both sides were offended. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 549. Okay, I'm trying to break through, not a natural-born killer. Ye Bai waved his hand, indicating that Gabriel could take action. Add money or something, let's talk about it. The Eternal Tower can testify that Ye Bai has a good way to obtain wealth. He won't take any money that he shouldn't take. Two black wings of light spread out behind him, and Gabriel soared into the sky. A black light fell from the sky and hit the ground hard. "Gabriel, here comes the hero." Rumble. The entire valley shook violently, and all the monsters were instantly killed. The most powerful Xeon seed in the history of the Angel clan has once again shown its prowess after 72 years. But this time, he still lost to the strongest seed of the human race. When a person becomes accustomed to failure, he will drift away from success. After killing all the enemies with one blow, Gabriel remained calm and showed no emotion. The pair of huge black wings of light made the remaining angels look sideways and surprised. The eyes of many senior angels flashed with enthusiasm and passion that was beyond words. They seemed to see that the once strongest black angel was back. However, as his wings slowly retracted, Gabriel's expression was still numb and his eyes were gloomy. The light of hope ignited and then extinguished, and this dark night seemed like it had never been bright before. The faces of the older generation of angels slowly appeared as numb as Gabriel's. They didn't know when the darkness would be broken. Angel clan, when will the dawn come? After helping his tribe solve the life and death crisis, Gabriel turned around and followed Shura silently without saying a word. Walking on the ruins, Ye Bai asked, "Here, who's in charge now?" Many angels looked at Gabriel subconsciously. Some of the clan elders who used to be in charge were killed by the black mist. For the rest, I think I am not as strong as Gabriel, and I hope that the other party will step up and take the lead. However, Gabriel's silence made all the angels' hearts sink to the bottom of the sea. Eventually, an 8-winged angel was elected as the representative of these remaining angels to negotiate with Shura. "Angel of the angel family, I have met the Lord." The other party bowed slightly and saluted. "The most powerful seed from the human race, I don't know what to call you yet. Just call me Master Shiu." Ye Bai continued to walk on the ruins, and Angel had no choice but to follow him. The initiative in the negotiation is completely in Shura's hands. On the one hand, the situation is stronger than the person, and it is the last word to have a big fist. In terms of hard power, all the angels present together are no match for Gabriel. And Gabriel lost to Shura again. On the other hand, it was indeed the angels who offended Shura first. Angel kept his attitude very low. The angel clan is willing to meet any of your conditions. Don't worry, we will settle the accounts later. Yabai said kindly. I am the person who settles accounts most clearly, is fair and just, and does not bully others. People give me the nickname Walking Wanwu Pavilion. Dracula. As long as the demon lord wants some face, he won't want no face at all. Yabai changed the topic and asked. I saw an IOU somewhere before, and it said, Wilhan borrowed some supplies from the angel clan, and will pay them back twice as much on the day when the most powerful demon lord falls. Is this happening? Angel was stunned and didn't understand why Shura mentioned this matter. However, she did not dare to deceive Shura and said vaguely. It seems, probably, maybe. In Angel's view, this matter is certainly a traceless mistake. To a certain extent, it can be regarded as a traceless black history. Could Shura want to erase Wilhan's debt? If you think about it from this perspective, it does make some sense. From now on, the two parties have written it off and owe each other nothing, which is very fair. Moreover, from the perspective of the angel clan, the things Wilhan borrowed had no intention of returning them. The day when the most powerful demon god fell? Will that day really happen? The angel tribe didn't believe it. If you have it, you have it, if you don't have it, you don't have it. Yabai said unhappily. How many supplies were borrowed that year? Do you have a list? There is this, there is. With that said, Angel quickly asked someone to bring over an account book, the size of a dictionary. That's it? Obviously, this account book is thinner than Yabai imagined. Angel said carefully, this is the catalog. That's okay. After getting the account books, Yabai continued. Tell me, how are you going to pay back this debt to my second brother? How about a check? Angel's expression suddenly froze midway through his words. Master Shiu, I didn't hear clearly what you just said. Yabai patiently repeated it. How are you going to repay this debt? Angel? This powerful angel was messy in the wind, completely unable to keep up with the opponent's rhythm. Wilhan asked the angel clan to borrow something. The angel clan is the creditor. Why should the angel clan pay back the debt? Seeing that the other party didn't understand, Yabai simply took out the IOU again. In front of all the angels, Shura moved out a wall, which was the wall of the angel tribe's treasure house. The moods of many angels were a little complicated for a while. Where did this thing, Shura, come from? Yabai pointed to the words on the wall and said word by word. Look, it says here that Wilhan borrowed some supplies from the angel clan. My second brother lent you something, you have to pay it back, right? Yabai said confidently. I have the IOU and the account books. You can't rely on this account. The offense and defense are alien. Damn it, the angel clan is in debt. Not to mention Angel, even Gabriel was a little stupid. Can you still play like this? Among the many strong men present, only Dracula could remain calm. It's just the basic operations of the demon lord. There's nothing to be shocked about. Shura is called the demon lord for a reason. Gabriel mused. It turns out that this is greed. Facts have proved that how to write an IOU is a big question. For example, Yabai relied on the final interpretation of the IOU to successfully counterattack an army. However, there was one thing that Gabriel didn't understand. The angels at this level have become poor and have no money to squeeze out. Shura made such a big circle and took so much trouble. What was he trying to do? Angel took a deep breath, calmed down, then gritted his teeth and asked. Then what do you think we should do? Just as Gabriel thought, money is definitely not enough, life is all that matters. It's simple. Yabai set out his own conditions. All the angels moved out of the 32nd floor and entered the Eternal Core City, and the previous accounts were wiped out. Before Angel could reply, Yabai added, "Including your account and mine." As soon as these words came out, all the angels had angry expressions on their faces. Asking them to move away is emotionally unacceptable. It's hard to leave the homeland, not to mention that the 32nd floor is so comfortable, they are the masters here. After entering the Eternal Core City, you will be subject to many restrictions, far from the freedom of the 32nd level. Just when many angels had internal disagreements, Gabriel, who had been silent all this time, spoke up and made the final decision. Move. After Gabriel's statement, the angels were like a flock of sheep, united in their opinions. In fact, Gabriel saw it clearly. Regardless of this account, Shura, or the human race, will not allow the angel race to continue to stay on the 32nd floor. What Shura said about paying off the debt was actually just giving the angel clan a step up. From this perspective, Gabriel owed Shura a favor. Gabriel nodded slowly, confirming that this generation of the most powerful seeds of the human race are worldly and sophisticated, and are especially good at dealing with strong people and handling relationships. Dracula on the side looked at Gabriel's expression and sighed helplessly. Well, another lame one. In the eyes of 100 people, there are 100 Shuras. But Dracula knows. Shura is still the same demon lord, without any change. He could only pat Gabriel on the shoulder and said feebly in a sympathetic tone, "Welcome to the sheepfold. Online games, only I can see hidden information." Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 550. After a brief welcome ceremony, in accordance with Shura's request, everyone in the angel clan began to move. It's said to be a relocation, but in fact there's nothing left to stay. When the black mist invaded the 32nd floor, the angels cast it instantly and did not suffer much losses. But a sacrifice emptied the angel clan's family fortune. The sudden war destroyed the home. These remaining tribesmen are the last hope. Angel returned to the angels to plan the move. A far-sighted clan elder stood up. "It doesn't matter, cheer up everyone, we still have a hidden wealth," he said confidently. Back then, in order to cope with the crisis, there was a batch of supplies wrapped in brown paper and hidden in the sewer of the treasure house. It was enough for us to make a comeback in the Eternal Core City. Hearing this, the morale of the angels soared. Immediately an angel suggested, "Without further ado, let's go back to the treasure house." "That makes sense." A mighty group of angels rushed back to the treasure house. When they arrived, all the angels fell silent as they looked at the bare mountain. "Did we go to the wrong place? Where is the treasure house? What about such a large treasure house built by the angel clan here? Also drains, craft paper. Home is gone." Angel smiled bitterly and shook his head. At this moment, she completely understood what Mr. Xiu meant by Liang Qing. The wealth value of the angel clan is cleared, and the debt owed to Shura is cleared. This is called Liang Qing. After being robbed by Shura, the angel tribe's pockets were empty, cleaner than the wool on Xuemeng's body. Well. Angel sighed and shook his head helplessly. Who can you blame? The sins committed by the angels themselves can only be broken into pieces and swallowed. Don't worry about it, let's go to Eternal Core City. Angel looked at the embarrassed tribesman. It is already the lowest point, no matter how you go, it will always be upward. Maybe going to Eternal Core City is not a bad thing. Just when Angel was thinking this, her foot slipped and she fell even lower without paying attention. "Come and help me," fish out Angel. "Who is so wicked, digging such a big hole here? On the 32nd floor." After solving the angel clan's troubles, Yabai did not settle the matter immediately. Summoning the Eternal Core Crystal started a new round of fair negotiations. Shura, don't push yourself too far. When he came up, Taling threw Yabai a yellow card as a warning. You can make requests, but don't go too far. Don't worry, I never push too far. Yabai said sincerely. There is no future in trying to push yourself too far. At least you have to make more progress. Yabai made a request that was not excessive. Can you help me get the golden dragon's body back? Yabai's attitude was very sincere and he said sincerely. Xiao Huang is now provided with food and shelter at my place. He is very happy as a weapon spirit, but his bones are not yet cold. I can't just watch my men suffer, take the bodies back and bury them with splendor. Taling. Haha, do you think I believe it? Pooh. You just want it? Despicable. Impossible, it is still the most powerful seed in the Dragon Clan's Forbidden Land. Under the supervision of eternal rules, I have no right to interfere in this matter. Taling rejected Yabai's request. Yabai could only settle for the next best thing. What reward can you give? In this bargaining, he must at least know what the other party has, right? What if the tower vibrates jingling sound? I can give buff to the entire human race, just like the one you had after passing the level with a 4's rating. After thinking about it, Taling added. I can also increase the favorability of the angels towards the human race, but the effect is limited. Angels with strength above the War King level can ignore this effect. As long as the angels reach adulthood, they can have the fighting power of the King of War. Yabai rolled his eyes. Why is this pagoda spirit even more contemptuous than his eyes? Seeing that Yabai had no objection, Taling showed the buff effect. Angel Blessing, when receiving fatal damage, resist the damage and recover 50% of the blood volume, only once. This buff is wrong. This buff is not mine. Yabai frowned and said dissatisfied. How come this is worse than the 4's grade reward I got before? According to the previous rules, the higher the level, the richer the rewards. How can you still drive in reverse? Taling also has something to say. I was your third brother before, and I was just a tower spirit. What can I do? I must be desperate too. Hiss. Yabai took a breath of cold air, feeling that something was strange, but there seemed to be nothing wrong with it. Okay, but you have to do me a little favor. Yabai made another request. Taling hesitated for a moment, but finally agreed. Okay, third brother's share is ready. Yabai nodded with satisfaction and asked. Where's my share? Yabai has always been very clear about settling accounts. The buff of the entire human race, even the third brother's 70%. There is still 30% that he wants to share with Master Fool. According to the eternal rules, Gabriel cannot enter your exclusive space. He must go to the Eternal Core City with the Angel Clan. Taling gave Yabai a popular science guide. Moreover, his strength is infinitely close to level 990. Once he exceeds it, he will enter the Eternal Temple. Yabai immediately understood the implication of Taling's words. Can you block the bug and prevent him from entering the Eternal Temple? What's the glitch? I don't understand. Taling hesitated and said. Can the matter about the tower spirit be called a bug? This is called fair use of rules. Eventually, the two sides reached an agreement. Yabai took Gabriel away, and the tower spirit gave Yabai a prop that would prevent Gabriel from entering the Eternal Temple for 3 months. After the negotiation was settled, Yabai asked tentatively. I have a friend who is very curious about the situation inside the Eternal Temple. Can he go in and take a look? Tarling. The color of the Eternal Core Crystal changed, and the tower spirit ran away. Just in the Eternal Tower alone, Shura has caused so many troubles. If you put him in the Eternal Temple, facing so many quasi-gods and god-level experts, So many fat sheep. God knows what crazy things Shura can do. Use this to test Shura? Facts have proven countless times that Shura cannot withstand any test. After everything was settled, Yebai didn't need to stay any longer and put his palm on the eternal core crystal. Settlement. After a while, all races in the Eternal Tower have received a new server-wide announcement. Congratulations to player Shura for successfully retaking the 32nd floor of the Eternal Tower. Player Shura SSSS level clears the 32nd floor. The announcement paused, and the originally calm voice, with a slight tremor, said slowly. Thank you to the strongest Xiao Ao for providing the Eternal High Tower human race buff angel blessing.